You're not allowed to help your co-workers. Okay, no problem. So I started a new job about 2 years ago and finally found a job I'm naturally good at, which has been amazing as my performance have been top-notch, no disciplinary actions and even a few awards. So I started helping out my fellow co-workers when they were struggling, and especially helping out the newbies who just got off training. Which is garbage generic training for 3 weeks which has literally nothing to do with our sector, and we're literally told to forget everything we learned because it does not apply to us. So naturally the newbies struggle a lot at the start, and that tanks the performance for the entire team. So I wanted to be a good team player now that I finally felt like I knew what I was doing. Apparently that was a mistake on my part. After 3 months of helping my team, I was called into a meeting with our coach to discuss my behavior. And I was told that I was not allowed to help my co-workers because I am not trained in that field, and only the higher-ups are supposed to answer questions and make decisions within our job. Which would be fine and understandable if the coach was available for the entire 8-8 shift to answer questions and help people, which they are not. I pointed this out along with some statistics that since I started helping out answering questions, our performance has gone up each month, and it helps the newbies feel welcomed as they have a non-superior they can ask stupid questions to without worry. Another mistake on my part, our coach got really angry, and I was basically told that this is how it is, and if I'm caught giving unsanctioned help, again I will receive disciplinary action. Okay, fine. Have it your way then, you sad pathetic excuse of a human. I screenshotted the conversation, dug up performance reports prior to me helping, during me helping, and for the next 3 months without me helping. And wow, shocker, we started tanking in our performance. Gasp, how could this have happened? So the entire team got called into a big meeting with the higher-ups, our manager and coach, to discuss what the fuck is going on and why we're doing so shit. I let everyone speak and say their piece, and at the end of the meeting I just asked if I could have 5 minutes of one of the big chief's time, as I think I might have a solution to help improve our performance. And he was actually surprisingly interested, so he called me up after the meeting to hear me out, and I told him about the whole situation, showed screenshots, performance results, the whole 9 yards. My dude was visibly shook, a bit lost for words to be honest, but said he really appreciated the input and would look into fixing this internally, and that was that. 3 days later our coach resigned in search for greener pastures. Ha 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 fuck you. Too long did not read. Coach couldn't let their ego go and didn't allow me to help our team because I wasn't trained to help. Our performance tanked and they got sacked within 3 days of me speaking up. Edit. Jesus, this got so much more attention than I thought it would. Thank you all for the kind words. Glad my story could bring some satisfaction to you wonderful PPL. Edit 2. I'll answer some of the most common questions asked. I did get offered the coach position, but I declined as I love my current position and flexibility. It's not a toxic environment, was just a bad apple. I did not get a pay increase. See. Definitely deserved getting fired after telling you to not help because it was their job, then just fucking off and leaving the team with no help at all. I hope the company denies their unemployment benefits. Imagine being the new guy and asking someone next to you if you're doing something right. They just say, I'm not allowed to tell you. Good luck. I worked at a restaurant with another server who was the sweetest person and a great server. Whenever she had downtime she'd be running out food, helping out the other servers just like we were told to do, but like, all the time. She never stopped. Apparently at her last job she had done the same thing, but management told her not to help the other servers. They actually fired her over it. So she asked for it in writing and they gave it to her. She promptly took it to the restaurant we met at, told the manager at her interview that she was fired for helping too much, showed him the paper. He hired her on the spot. Yummy. Way to go. I hope they have the good sense to promote you. The coach didn't want you to help because your success, as a team player, invalidated the need for his position. He wanted to keep the status quo but not put in the hours. Old idiot didn't consider that going average great back to average would be noticed and need an explanation. I just asked if I could have 5 minutes of one of the big chief's time. That is a class maneuver. Sounds like the coach wasn't very well trained to be a coach himself. Nailed it op. Well played indeed. I was chipped once for asking help of someone that was not my senior officer every time. We all sat in the same area so it was easier. But chain of command blah blah. So we just ended up emailing. Everyone was happy and it was a great job. I miss it. Love the laugh at the end. Jesus, this sounds super weird. What industry is this? I can't even imagine working at a place where experienced employees weren't allowed to help newer employees. That makes zero sense. Cool. I'm glad the trash was taken out. Being a helpful coworker makes everyone's job better, from the newbie to the experienced people. Less mistakes means everything is smoother. I love how happy you are about this turn of events. You are a golden employee, working hard and supporting your team. Screw the wannabe dictators who can't see that. This happens at my work too. I work for the state. We're told that we can't go to other coworkers for help, we must go to a manager or supervisor for help. Problem is, the managers, supervisors don't know the work, so we're constantly told the wrong things. My manager constantly butts into our conversations to ask if we need help, basically saying we can't even have a conversation with a peer. Then if you do ask her for help and after she sees you talking to a coworker, she thinks you're asking for their opinion or that you're talking smack about her. It's so frustrating. Thank God she's retiring soon. Have it your way then, you sad pathetic excuse of a human. And #X200B. Like poetry or a fine wine. My dude was visibly shook, a bit lost for words to be honest, but said he really appreciated the input and would look into fixing this internally, and that was that. And #X200B. Would love to see how the coach react, and if she could. I bet the coach would love to become a turtle and hide the head in the shell. That read was hot. You've identified the problem, now follow up with, so promote me to coach with a corresponding pay increase to reflect the increased responsibility. I learned this as a manager. You want your team to shine. You have to support them every time. Your job is to provide whatever resources they need to facilitate their job. I worked for a guy years ago, as a mobile service welder, who would send me out on jobs with no direction. Just see what they want and do your thing. Work began at 7 a.m. and he would habitually show up around noon and say shit like, "Why didn't you do it this other way? Didn't take me long to come back with. If you want to give input on how it's done, show up at 7 like the rest of us. Now get out of my face, because I'm trying to get this done." Got canned for it. 3 months later he shows up at my home offering apologies and more dollar if I'd come back. Gave me great pleasure to tell him I'd found a place where my initiative and skills were valued, so get off my property, you're trespassing. Still makes me smile, many years later. This gave me flashbacks from my first job. Severe weather kept a training instructor from flying into Dallas and they would cancel the Unix security class without him. I volunteered to county lead the class and it went great. We had fun, found errors in the presentation files and exercises. It went so great that I asked about leading the class again and for different offices too. Denied. They had a train the trainer class that was required for any instructors, and wouldn't authorize me to attend because I was too junior. Years later I dealt with some folks my old company, Big Four audit, and learned they still hadn't corrected the errors in the official materials for the class. The past tense of screenshot is screenshot. Open mouth smile. Awesome. Hopefully you got a raise at least. I'm in IT. I've been in some successful places, and some cesspits of misery. Each successful place encouraged peer troubleshooting or group chat of some form. Open forum, open suggestions, and maybe a lead giving the final word or the thumbs up. The cesspits were competitive and combative and soul-sucking. I'm the most experienced person on my team. My manager is in tons of meetings. So we have a group chat set up and the newbies ask questions and about 60% of the time I'm answering them to directing them on where to go. Manager isn't mad, it boosts our team knowledge, leading to better handled files and stats. When your job is 24/7 but the admin is only 9/5. Good times. Fantastic. Smart way to go about it. Well done. And that, boys and girls, is why you keep receipts. You were called in for a meeting and got screenshots. Huh? So satisfying and nicely executed. I am a coach. This is not how you coach. How do you screenshot a conversation in a face-to-face meeting? Any job that tracks statistics is a shitty job. Well, yeah. If you're not trained to train, you just can't do that because of the liability. It doesn't matter if you literally know more accurately, than everyone else in the company put together. No hard feelings professionally, it's not just not your job, it's specifically anti your job. LMAO. Good on you for keeping receipts. I hate that whole high school bullshit attitude of viewing co-workers as competition and not helping each other. For example, I'm going through a 6-week training class with 28 other new hires at my new job, and we're all posting links to learning resources in Slack chat, taking class notes as a shared Google document. We're gonna be a huge benefit to the company because we work as a team, not as 29 individuals who don't want to share knowledge because someone else might get a raise or promotion before we do. Truly beautiful. Congrats. Admire your ability to document it all in the process. That can be an easy thing to do in hindsight but hard to see in the present. Also, how often do you have performance reviews? I just get an annual one. My little part of my corporation is fairly small, for the corporation as a whole, but very skilled and seasoned for our quite profitable little niche. 20-year veterans still ask 20-year veterans for guidance, usually a simple question of where I can X piece of information but sometime more detailed. We even have monthly meetings with just us, no directors etc., to work things out or at least catch up on changing procedures. Change is one thing that is constant in our field. The place would freeze up if we couldn't informally get help from each other and had to go through training, no immediate responses. This is beautiful malicious compliance right here. Well done op, well fucking done. My current job actually had an official buddy system. When I started I was paired with a peer mentor who is a more experienced person in the same role I am in. It allowed me to ask questions, bounce ideas, and get help troubleshooting problems I was encountering during my onboarding. My role is fairly difficult, so having a peer I could work with was invaluable. That being said, if I encountered something that needed escalation, either within my department or a different one, I was always encouraged to go to my actual boss. She has been nothing but awesome, backing me up and providing help and guidance. Love the ending. Eloquent and expressive. Ha 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 fuck you. Doesn't get better than this. For what it's worth, I would have gone over their heads pretty much immediately after that convo. You better have gotten a raise. Seems like they ought to give you the coach job. Here, have a happy song, zany face anchor. One of the greatest posts I've ever read here. This is pro-tier truth telling, I am impressed. Will try to take a lesson from you here to apply at my own job. You handled this situation perfectly. Bravo.